Hi, everybody, and welcome to LEDA's Community Conversations. It's almost fall, and we've been having these since the very beginning of summer or even very beginning of June. So thank you for being a part of it and viewing us. As I've mentioned before, we started having these community conversations after George Floyd's death and realized that this is a really good venue for particularly BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, and people of color, to talk about things that they're doing so that the community and other people can see how much of a voice we actually do have, how we participate in our communities, and how integral everyone is to our various communities that we live in, work in, and travel in. So thank you for being here. So today I'm very pleased to have Ana Jose, who is the program manager for the West Michigan Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Hi, Ana.
Hi, how are you, Gloria?
Fine. Thank you so much for being here. And every time someone pronounces my name Gloria, I almost answer in Spanish. So, but and I wanted to bring you on for several reasons. Number one is what you do. I think is so integral to the economies of our area, but also being National Hispanic Heritage Month, I also wanted to start highlighting and Latinx and Hispanic people. So, Ana, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you came from. You are an immigrant, so I think you have an interesting story as well. But remember, we have a lot of things to cover. So,
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation, Gloria. Thank you for allowing us to be part of this platform. We truly appreciate that. I appreciate that when I'm given an opportunity to talk a little bit about what I do and, just talk a little bit about myself, just give you a little bit about me. I was born and raised in the Dominican Republic. Very small town. I'm a first generation college graduate. For me, it was important to always do work that is meaningful and I can support my community and most importantly, my family. And that's basically what we do as immigrant, right? We try to do everything we can, not only for ourselves but for our community. So that's one of the things that I have been doing since I got here to the United States.
well, great. Well, thank you. Um, People may not be aware of the impact that Latinx businesses have in Western Michigan. Can you tell us a little bit about the size of how many businesses there are, the actual revenue or the dollars, and how it really fits into the entire business infrastructure out here?
Well, to be honest with you, Gloria, the growing economy, power is basically powered by Latinx businesses. They have brought in a huge impact to the community as a whole. They have billions and billions of dollars that we are actually the um, the state is receiving because of all these businesses that we have in our community. And let me give you an example. A couple years ago, we did a study. There was a study made that was for that stated that $58 million was being spent, and the majority of that was coming from Latinx businesses. So we know that the numbers that we represent count, the things that we do actually count. And we have demonstrated that our businesses are integral part of the community as a whole.
Great, thank you. I mean, people don't realize how integral all these businesses are. And as as we're going through COVID, realizing how many are really important and essential businesses as well, providing services that the consumer might see or more focused on business to business. aspect. Um, so you are the program manager for the Transformando West Michigan program, which sounds really interesting and intriguing. Can you tell us a bit about how the program got started and why, and the inspiration for the program?
Yes, it happened like for the past 3 years, and I've been with the chamber for 2 years now. But our Senate director, Guillermo Cisnero, had a vision. For the past 16 years, the Hispanic Chamber was focusing on making sure that we created a platform where businesses got together. They did a lot of networking, they did a lot of different activities. But he realized that it was time for us to do something more because our community needed infrastructure. Our community was lacking a lot of the technology, the systems, the how to make sure that your business actually grow. All those little things that other businesses had the opportunity of taking advantage of, our businesses were lacking that. So he decided to sit down with the board and he wanted to create programs, right? And from that conversation came out Transformando West Michigan and also Building Bridges to Education that we have Jessica Ledesma as the program manager for that program. But my program consists of making sure that we provide programs to Hispanic businesses and then provide them the tools that they need in order for them to be successful. And let me give you an example. A lot of people, a lot of our businesses, they do have information about human resources, but they don't really know exactly all the things that needs to happen when you are talking about HR. So we provide training on that. We provide training on food safety. Um, when we first started this program, Gloria, it was very hard for us to get our community to pass even the food safety training. So the first class that we did, it was like we had like 13 people, and out of the 13 people, only 2 people actually passed, right? And it wasn't because they were not smart. It wasn't because it was not they were not interested in it. It was because we did not have a Latinx expert teaching the class in a way that they could understand and they could actually feel that there were cultural sensitivity and that people really wanted for them to actually go through this training and complete this class. So we sat back and we realized that this was something that it was really important for our community. So we went back and we identified a Latinx professional that was able to come in. And for the second cohort that we put together, 100% of the participants actually passed that class. But let me tell you why that happened. That happened because we were able to sit down with our community members from 7:45 in the morning until 8 o'clock at night, and I kid you not, and making sure that they understood, making sure that they were able to interpret the information, making sure that they knew the importance of it, and being sensitive to the fact that a lot of them didn't complete it high school or didn't complete it college, but this information was important to them. So just knowing what is the community need and us being able to provide that information is really what made Transformando the program that it is today.
That's great. For people who may not be familiar with the certificate or the certification, can you tell us a little bit about exactly what it is and how that helps businesses and the public understand food safety?
Well, that certification is extremely important because if you don't have it, you are not able to open up a restaurant here in the state of Michigan. And for some businesses, some business owners, they have to have a family member go through that training because they don't actually understand. They don't understand the language, or they actually have to ask a friend to go through the process to get it done. And for us, it's important that if you're going to be running a business, it's your responsibility to have not only the knowledge, but know the know-how, right? And make sure that you understand the importance of this. So and when we were able to put this program together and present it to our business owners, a lot of them said, well, I have tried to go through the training, but to complete it because I don't really understand the language, the information that is provided. And then we knew that we needed to do more for our community, and that's what we prepared to do. So now that we know exactly what we need to do and how to make that program successful, it has been one that we're able to provide it to the members of our community, exactly what we need to do in order to help them move forward. In order for businesses to participate in my program, just to answer your question, we want them to go through an assessment process, right? Because we really want to know exactly what they're lacking and what are some of the things that they need to do for them to be successful, or better yet, what we need to do in order for us to help them be successful. It could be it will be an assessment that really talk about their finances, where they're at, how many employees they have, what is the process and policies and procedures that they actually are using. And they're very thorough. Is a lot of information that we have to gather in order for us to have the statistics. So when we sit down with that business owner, we could help them develop a plan and say, okay, now these are the 5 or 6 areas that we are going to be able to assist. And that has been working for us because that gives us the tools that we need in order for us to help and assist a lot of our businesses.
So now you're talking about the overall Transformando West Michigan program, correct?
Yes.
So not just the food safety one. Can you tell me or tell us which are the ones that have had the most reaction, like, wow, I didn't realize this, I had to do this. And I'm so glad that the Hispanic Chamber is helping us with this.
I have, Gloria, I have so many stories. And that's why I get up every morning wanting to do more for our community. I have one of our business owners that it was really hard for her to get to actually be able to cook outdoors. You know how it is. Our business owners, they want to do things different. They want to really create that atmosphere that clients could feel comfortable, and then they will feel like, okay, I'm bringing my culture, the way of us doing things, to our community, just to create that level of experience, right? So this business owner was not able to get the variance for years. When I had that conversation with her and we found out what needed to be done, and we took it right on, and we prepared all the documentation that needed to be prepared. We went ahead and sit down with the city commissioners and explain to them the value and how this was going to impact not only the business but the community, because they were bringing something new. And finally we were able to get that approved for her, and now she's actually she's able to cook outdoor. I could also talk about other businesses that they were not able to get financing because their accounting was not in order, and that's things that could hinder a lot of our businesses. So we work with this business, and now they were able to get a loan, and they were able to get other things, and they were able to actually grow their business. So there's a lot of things that we have been able to do. We also had another business that when I first started, they were only making barely $150,000 a year. And before the pandemic, we were close to 300,000. And that's because of the training. They understand the importance of participating, us being the advocate, right? Because we really want to make sure that we advocate for our businesses. When we're sitting in these tables, right, throughout the city of Grand Rapids or West Michigan, we're not only sitting there for us as an organization, but we sit in there because we're representing those businesses in our community. And we want to make sure that if opportunity for them, if there's any opportunity for them to take advantage of those opportunities, we want to make sure that we put that on the table as well.
Great. I mean, it's difficult when you're starting out and you don't know everything you're supposed to know. You have, for example, for restaurants or for the women you were talking about, they know they can make something that really is wonderful, and people are really willing to buy it or go to the restaurant. But then everything else is like, oh, it's almost too much bother. Uh, so, how many businesses have been helped to be started by going through Transformando West Michigan?
Right now, we have approximately 15 businesses, and um, working with our community, Gloria, it's not easy. It's grassroots, um, working with them, impacting them in so many levels, in so many ways. So we're working with 15 businesses, but let me tell you this though. Um, we have helped over 200 businesses because it's not only Transformando. So now we have not only Transformando participant, but we have all our responsibility with all the businesses in our community because we want to make sure that they are receiving the services, they have the opportunities for the grants that they get, so they could actually stay alive. So we not only working with the ones that we have in Transformando, but we also are saying what else can we do to make sure that all these other businesses stay afloat and they could actually go through this, and maybe a year or two down the line we could go back and say, you know what, we made it because of our effort. They were able to get grants, they were able to get PPEs, they were able to get PPPs, they were able to do so many things, and really that's what the Hispanic Chamber is all about, opening up those doors for not only now my program but all the businesses in our community.
Thank you. Thank you for that because it's so needed. So, for those of you who are wondering what some of those terms were, as you may recall, PPE is personal protection equipment,
Yes,
and PPP is a payroll protection program.
absolutely.
And that was, it's not easy to apply for, especially if you're not used to the language and the documentation that they're asking for. So, I mean, thank you so much for the West Michigan Hispanic Chamber on, helping the businesses with that, because without an organization such as yours, they would be lost, basically.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, um, can you tell us a bit about the collaborations that Transformando West Michigan has? Who do you work with, Anna?
Um, well, we work with the city of Grand Rapids, of course. Right now, we are working with them on a program called the MLBE program, the Micro Lending Business Entrepreneur Program. And that program consists of identifying um, businesses in our community that focus on construction, cleaning, trucking. There is a program. There's a program coming into Grand Rapids to restore the river, and that program is going to bring in at least between 50 to 58 million dollars to the city of Grand Rapids, right? And we want to make sure that our business owners are part of that. So we are working with them and working with the city to make sure that we have an equitable process. It's important for us to have an equitable process because a lot of time there are cities that they will just go out. It's a lot easier to go out and get the big companies to come in and do this work. But one of the things that I definitely appreciate from the city of Grand Rapids decided to bring us on board and make sure that we help them with that equitable process. So that means that a lot of these companies are going to be able to get contracts directly with the city of Grand Rapids, and they're going to be the one doing the work. And this project is going to take approximately 7 years to do. So that means that if we are able to get, a drywaller or a trucker to get one of these contracts, they're going to have work for a long time. And not only that, they're going to be able to hire people from our community, and they're going to be able to support their family because they're not subcontractors. They're actually they're able to bid on these projects directly.
I mean, that's wonderful because, as we know, businesses are really the economic drivers of an economy. And And businesses also help with the wealth building of different families and communities. And that's an area that particularly the, Hispanic, Latinos, and the Black communities have really not shared or participated in. So that's an excellent collaboration.
Yeah,
Uh,
and another, and then let me just add another one that we couple more that we're actually working
mhm.
on. We're also working with RPC, Brandy Progress Capital. That's one of the organizations here in town. It's a nonprofit organization that right now is working very closely with some of our business owners that were not able to get grant or not able to secure any type of loans from big banks out there. They're able to get a loan through this organization at 1% interest, $25,000, and 90-day absolutely no payment. So that's another collaboration that we have, and we are very pleased with the work that they're doing because they understand our community. They understand that they might not have all these documentation, and they have made an effort to make sure that if you need any assistance, the funding are there. We also
oh,
work
just one thing. What is the name of that organization so that we can get it up in our
RPC,
chat?
yes, RPC, Randy Progress Capital,
RANDE?
RPC.
RPC. Great.
Yes, Randy Progress Capital. And
Okay,
then we
great.
also, yeah, we also working with finish this collaboration with the right place. We were able to work with the right place in providing grants to the businesses in our community, and we were able, Gloria, to help and assist 87 businesses get grants. Right. Um, Before, that would have never been possible, but we took it up on ourselves to make sure that the process was equitable and that businesses in our community was able to get their hands on some funding. And these businesses actually were able to get at least between $5,000 to $10,000 just to help them with their business.
That's great because it's, as having been associated with smaller businesses, it's getting that funding and finding out what's available and being helped through that process is really, really difficult. And for those of you that are looking at our chat, the website for Render Progress Capital is up on there as well. So now you personally are involved with a couple of other organizations. Can you tell us a little bit about those, please?
Absolutely. I'm a board member for the Latina Network of West Michigan. That organization is amazing. We just empower. We empower each other to do greater things in our community. So so proud and pleased to be a part of that. I'm also a board member with the U.S. Green Building Council of West Michigan because we want to make sure that our businesses understand about sustainability. So to me, that's extremely important, and I just want to be a part of that. I'm also work with Grow, Grand Rapids Opportunity for Women, to make sure that new businesses in our area, or people that want to open up a business, they have an opportunity and they could actually go directly and work directly with Grow, just to make sure that they help them start the process. So I try to be involved as much as I possibly can. Sometimes I feel like pulling from one place to another, but at the end of the day, that's what we have to do. We need to be sitting down on these tables so that way, when there's an opportunity for us to not only voice it for our organization, but just be that voice for our community as well.
Great. Um, you mentioned, some of the other organizations that you're involved with, but there's like some collaborations and some supporters of the Transformando West Michigan program. I think you had some major companies or corporations that were a part of that helped.
That's correct. Like right now, we're working with Fifth Third Bank that is a huge supporter of us. The city of Grand Rapids is a huge supporter, and other organizations that have not given me authorization to disclose their names. But yeah, There's quite a few organizations out there that is supporting our program. But let me say this, Gloria, this is work that is going to take years for us to do. So if there's any other organization that want to team up with us, we definitely have our doors open, because this is a lot of work that we have to do, and we're going to need to get that additional support to make sure that these businesses are not left behind.
So are there particular businesses that you're trying to focus and help grow in particular areas?
Yes, we work a lot with supermarkets. We have quite a few of those. We have beauty salons. We have a lot of restaurants. And we have a lot of restaurants because it's so hard for the businesses in the restaurant business to see a margin, their margin increase, right? So we want to make sure that we give them the support that they need in order for them to grow. So we do have quite a few restaurants that we're working with at this time.
Sorry, I lost my mouse. So,
That's okay.
so how does someone get into the program? How are they interested? Can you please step us through that process? You talked a little bit about that, but or someone wants to start a new business, and how can they do that?
Yes, absolutely. One of the easiest and fastest way of really learning more, they could actually go to our website, and I think you have that information right up right on this broadcast. But it would be great if they could just give us a call. They could call us at 616-452-3960. And what we will do is actually follow up with them. And I have Jasenia as part of my team, and we will go ahead and send them the information that they need. The first step will be to complete, for us to do kind of like a phone interview and see exactly if there will be a good fit for our program, because it's a lot of work, and we want to make sure that the people that are participating, they have the willingness to change. They have the willingness and the time to do what it takes to be successful. So we want to make sure that we have that conversation. And then after that, they will go through an assessment process. And the assessment process is very lengthy because we want to get as much information as possible, because with that information, then we have the statistical data that can help us identify what kind of help we could provide them. And then we start identifying and really seeing what areas they need the most help.
I'm couple of monitors, so trying to get the mouse over to the right monitor sometimes isn't fast. So I was actually watched an interview with you that was online, and there was some interesting things that you shared about when you came to the United States, about how you decided to come to West Michigan as well. Can you share with us a little bit about that, please?
Sure. When I first came to the U.S., I actually came to New York, and it was tough there. It was really, really hard for me, for my brother. My dad was able to bring us over, but it was really hard. It was a very tough situation. Now you're gonna make me feel a little bit emotional, because every time I talk about that, I feel like kind of emotional. I saw myself without having a place to live or a place to stay. And, I talked to my aunt and I was like, Thea, I need to do something different. I want to do something different. I want to make sure that I support my mom, because I left my mom when I was young to come to the United States along with my brother. And I knew I couldn't stay in New York because we were not wanted there. I don't know what happens sometimes with people, but and my brother and I, we were basically without a place to live. And my aunt said, just come over, come over. And I was able to save a little bit of money to buy the plane ticket. And when I got to Grand Rapids, Gloria, I felt this peace, right?
Mhm.
And when I call, and back in the day, you were able to use the public phone. And I think I only put like a dime in it. And I was talking to my cousin for 1 hour on the phone back in 1990, right?
Mhm.
And I talked to her for an hour, and then I realized, I said, what? We've been talking for an hour, and I only put a dime, right? I'm staying in Grand Rapids. I'm not going anywhere, you know? So I was there talking to her until my cousin got out of work so she could go pick me up. And, you know, and I decided to stay here and get a life for myself and work, go to school, and take care of my mom that I left her behind in the DR.
Great. Well, thank you for that. So I'm going to ask you a question which may be a little bit sensitive because people will, say, well, if you're Latina, how come you don't look Latina?
I know. They do it all the time. They do it all the time, Gloria. And let me tell you this. Sometimes I go to the store and this happened to me so many times, and it's funny now, right? I was at the store and I had two people behind me, and they were talking about my behind, they were talking about my hair, they were talking about all this stuff, right? And then I turn around and I say, ¿de qué estás hablando? Right? And they were like, what? She speaks Spanish. I was like, yeah, so you have to be careful what you say. You know, born and raised in the Dominican Republic. In the Dominican Republic, there's, Cocolas like me, Afro Latinas like me, and that's who I am. And a lot of people don't even think that I'm Hispanic, but born and raised in the Dominican Republic.
Right. I mean, you and I were chatting a little bit just before we went on the air. How I say, okay, I finally figured out how to tell people from the Dominican Republic. The Spanish is very, very, very fast. Because I would go to New York a lot on business, and all of a sudden I hear the Spanish being spoken, but it couldn't slow down. So,
Yeah, we do. Everything is like so quick and fast. It's crazy, but yeah.
and which brings up an interesting point because this being National Hispanic Heritage Month, there are many, many, many different uh, Hispanics with different cultures, with different backgrounds. How you grow up, and how you look, how you even speak Spanish. I mean, things like that. I mean, we're not monolithic.
Exactly. And one thing to that, Gloria, is so important for people to understand that, we are Latinos, we are Hispanic, we come from different places, different part of the world. And the key is for us to learn to love each other, respect each other, and continue to lift up one another. As a woman in business, my goal in life is to lift up my Latina sisters. I don't care if they're lighter than me. I don't care if they're darker than me. I don't care where they're from. My goal is to make sure that I could impact their life in a way that I could look back and say, you know what? This is what we're here for. This is why we're here for, to help and lift up one another.
Yep. Well said. Thank you. I mean, because you know, I look at myself sometimes and like, oh, I look pretty light. My father even has green eyes, even though he's Mexican, but he was born in the United States. But that's one of the reasons why I'm having these conversations for people to be able to see, the wonderful variety of people that consider themselves Black or consider themselves Latinx or Hispanic, and to not make immediate judgments about people, regardless of whether they have an accent when they speak English. It's like, yeah, I mean, you have an accent to me as well, especially when you try to speak Spanish, for example.
Absolutely.
Right. So let's go back into the Transformando West Michigan. You talked a little bit about how people get into the program, but how do people find out about it? Besides the website, is it word of mouth or what?
Yes, this is one thing that I do every week, one, twice, three times a week. I use our social platform a lot, but we have contracts with all our media partners. We have partnership with El Vocero. We have partnership with La Mejor GR, with El Informador, because I want people to know that this program exists and I want them to take advantage of it. And we will call businesses and say, okay, how things are going. And right now, due to COVID, we cannot go out and knock on those doors, but we try to be as visible as possible. We also have something every Friday called Mesa Redonda, our round table. So businesses could come in and join us and have conversation with us and let us know what their needs are. And we try to follow up and provide them that additional assistance that they need, even if they're not part of our program. Like I previously said, Gloria, it's important for us to help our entire business community because right now our goal is to make sure that everyone stay open because our small businesses is core to the economy of West Michigan.
Yeah, I mean, we said it so well that everybody stays open, which
Absolutely.
is what everyone is concerned about and worried about. And, things are starting to reopen slowly, but not everything is opening at the same rate. And the different services are being asked to wait, or there's a higher demand for their services. Um, Before we leave, are there any parting thoughts that you would care to share with us?
I want to thank you for doing this program, Gloria, and making sure that our voices are being heard, and giving us a platform for us to talk about what we do. So I truly, truly appreciate that. And I hope that this is not the last time that we're able to do this. But one of the things that I just want to tell our community is that it's important for us to stay together. Right now, we're going through a very difficult time, but this too shall pass. I think that if we stay together, we could make things happen. And I know for a fact that we will definitely make things happen. We are a community of strong people. Um, we come from very strong families. We come from families that know how to work, families that have worked in fields, families that have carried water miles and miles to support their families, families that work day and night to support one another, families that actually will do anything to make sure that they stay together. So I'm just encouraging everyone where we come from and really know that we are strong and together we will continue to be stronger.
Great, thank you so much. I just realized I need to circle back to something that you said. You were talking about the contracts that you have, and for the people that aren't familiar, these are the Spanish language or English and Spanish language newspapers that you can pick up at almost every Mexican restaurant in town,
Mhm.
all the supermarkets. But for those of you that are interested in trying to reach out to this audience, they get so much of their information from these newspapers, El Informador, Vocero, and I forget what the third one
La
was.
mejor,
We
la
have,
mejor
yeah,
JR. Yes.
right. So, so it's something, if you're interested in reaching out to the Latino community, it's an excellent way of doing that. Another way is, you mentioned, what, two radio stations, I think?
Yes, yes. La Mejor is one of the radio
Yeah,
station, and
right.
then El Informador it does have a newspaper, but he's always live promoting the information. So it's just a matter of people knowing that
Mhm.
these businesses are there to promote and help the Latinx community know. And I'm always trying, and one thing that I always like to do, though, Gloria, I want people to buy from our businesses. So if
Right.
you're in town, make sure that you visit our restaurants and make sure that you shop our grocery stores. Make sure that you do that because we want to make sure that our businesses stay together. We have El Globo restaurant. We have Lindo Mexico that they have the best margarita. We have El Toro Bravo, Señor Sol. I could name and name and name. We
Right.
have La Pupuseria. It's like we have so many businesses here in Grand Rapids, and they have so much food, and it's amazing. So I'm just encouraging everyone that if you're in town, just visit one of our restaurants.
I know that. I mean, we have our favorites as well. So I'm going to change the topic completely about a project that both you and I were just involved in. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because, when you talk about how we all have to stay together, tell what the project that we were just on together.
Which one was that?
The masks.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Yeah. And we also, yes, that was very unique. That was very unique. We did this video with for Spectrum Health to make sure that we promote safety, because COVID-19 is not something that we need to take very lightly. We need to be very cautious. Right now, I was just looking at stats that shows that our community is one that is infected at least a 42% rate right now. And that's alarming to us. So we need to make sure that we protect ourselves, that we protect our neighbors, that we protect our families, we protect our parents, and everyone in our community. So please wear your mask. It might not be the best fashionista statement, but at least we are protecting one another. So please wear your mask. And if you want to make it look cool, just put something on it. That's fine, but just wear it because it's going to save lives.
Right. I mean, and you can see the video on the West Michigan Hispanic Chamber Facebook page, and we've shared it to the LEDA Facebook page as well. And it comes in English and in Spanish as well.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing, I don't know if you know this, but the music for the video was actually composed for the video by,
Really? I didn't know that.
Yes, by I think someone associated with Spectrum Health.
Oh, wow.
So that was the original composition, yeah. So,
oh, wow, I didn't know that. That's
and
great.
also, if you're watching the local news stations, that video, which is actually a PSA, a public service announcement, is being shown during the news programs and things like that. So you can see it everywhere. But, I think it's important that we as a community really focus on keeping each other healthy, and that's what the mask is for. So
absolutely.
So Anna, I really enjoyed having you on. If you can just take on for just a couple minutes afterwards while I finish this up. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ana Jose.
Thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Great. And thank you, everyone, for being with us. This has been a very interesting journey that we intend on keeping, but we have generous support from the Community Foundation of the Holland Zeeland area, and they believe in helping us get our messages out, to believe in having voices be heard. So again, thank you to the Community Foundation of Holland Zeeland. Next week, I actually have the guest lined up and already committed. Her name is Melinda Yasai, or Minda Yasai, and you may know her as being very active in the Grand Rapids community as a founding member of the Latina Network. But the reason, particularly now, that I'd like that she's coming on is to talk about how important it is for Latinos and Hispanics to become involved in their local communities and in their government. She is a commissioner for the 2nd Ward of the city of Grand Rapids as well. And so we're very excited to be bringing her on. So again, thank you so much for being here. And remember that you can watch our videos and send the links to them either from our Facebook site or from our YouTube site. So thank you so much, and take care, everybody.